Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Afro Scientific Spirituality. My name is Efe West, and today's topic is going to be about the features of the Arab and transatlantic slave trade and the upcoming Chinese slavery, which is inevitable based on the current trajectory that our governments of Africa are going in the area of borrowing loans upon loans from China. There's going to be a day when China will come collecting. It will not be in this generation. And when they come collecting those loans, they will find our governments wanting, and the government will have no option than to demand for more loans. And in settlements, they will have to give their resources and their citizens away to China in servitude. And that is where this slave trade is going to happen. And it's going to affect our children, our unborn children, for untold generations. So this is going to happen due to our actions, not by any mistakes, as it's already happening. So we need to talk about this. They say history always finds a way to repeat itself. So it's only natural that we go back to the history of slavery in Africa, how the slavery started. Slavery is a phenomenon that has always been in every culture of the world, but it has not been that serious as the way it is with Africa. During the early 7th century, there appeared to be a very large demand. There begin to appear to be a very large demand for slaves from Africa to the Arabian world. We don't know why this occurred, but there was a high demand for African women, and this led to a boom in the slave trade. So we can trace this foreign slavery in Africa to the Arab world. The Arabs started slavery in Africa way before the conquest of Africa. In fact, we traced it to the 7th century. And this practice occurred for about 1,300 years, that is 13 centuries. It was opened on two fronts in Africa, which is the Eastern Africa front, where we have countries like Ethiopia, Eritrea, Somalia, the Horn of Africa. And another front was also opened in the sub-Saharan Africa, from the coast of Guinea, modern-day Guinea, to Niger, to Angola. Arab slavers will come to conduct slave raids in the villages of these regions and take away thousands of people. They were able to take out more than 20 million Africans to the Arab world. They favor women more to men because they were into sexual slavery. That was one of their main reasons. Women were highly prized more than the females. Why the transatlantic slavery started in 15th century by Portugal. It lasted 400 years. The main front for the transatlantic slavery was the coast of West Africa, where we have modern-day Nigeria, Cameroon, Senegal, Ghana, Benin Republic. We also have Angola and some other African countries. This slavery officially ended in 1st January 1808. However, it continued unabated for another 50 years. The transatlantic slavers were mainly into African males because they needed people to work in their plantations. They needed people to do some heavy lifting. So they were more into males that are capable. Males were in high demand. But the Arab slavery, they prefer women. And the features of these two slavery, both of them were very brutal. The Arab slavery, they took women on the ratio of 3 women to 1 man, while the transatlantic slavery, The ratio was about 2 males to 1 female. The reason for the transatlantic slavery was for men to work on the farms and their plantations, why the main reason for the Arab slavery was just for sexual slavery and servitude, why the men were turned into eunuchs, meaning their balls and dicks were cut off so that they cannot have sex and impregnate the fellow slaves. This practice killed out more than half of the male slaves that were taken into captivity, and a large number of them also committed suicide as well. Hence the reason why the Northern Africa is whitened. When you look, North Africa is being populated by the Arabs. They don't teach this in school of why North Africa is full of Arabs and why the other part of Africa are black. This is the main reason. It was because of the trans-Arabic slave trade, and how the males were killed at and were upgraded due to this practice. Then, in the transatlantic slave trade, the lands were not occupied. The Europeans only came to Africa to take away natural resources, take away people, whatever they can carry. They don't take land, they never take land. Many of them could not live in Africa. They claimed it was filled with mosquitoes. It was very hot, they could not stay. But the Arabs actually took lands from Africa. They actually live in Africa. In fact, they took so many lands, those lands can never be gotten back. They are now part of Africa. This is the major difference. Another difference is that the children from the Arab enslavers became free men because they were the children of the Arabs. They became free, and they were also engaged in perpetrating the slave trade practice. That's why it took a very long time to stop. Even till now in the Arab world, slavery is still practiced openly in Saudi Arabia, Oman, Qatar. These Arab countries, they'll still practice modern day slavery of black people currently to this present day. But in the transatlantic slavery, the children that came from these unions between slavery are also slaves as well. The Europeans did not turn the black slaves into eunuchs. Rather, they encouraged the mating of slaves to produce more slave children to work in the farms. They were mating brothers and sisters, sons and mothers, fathers and daughters, all to produce as much slave as possible to grow their farms, to grow their factories, their industries. And they were also slaves as well. This is the major difference between the Arab slavery and the transatlantic slavery. But a new slavery is coming to Africa, and it's already at the verge, it's already happening. This is by the actions of our leaders, our own black African leaders that are selling us out of slavery in the area of collecting debts, borrowing loans from China. We don't really need those loans. I don't understand why our leaders are so bent on taking loans with all the natural resources we have on this continent. They are just so lazy. They just don't know how to repackage these natural resources, how to develop these natural resources, how to create manufacturing industry. Even ordinary simple power supply, they can't see to solve that problem, which is one of the easiest problems to solve. They prefer borrowing for everything they want to do. They have no single idea. I don't know if it's out of wickedness or out of dullness, but what they are eventually doing is that they are putting the next generation and the future generations into debts that can never be repaid at this rate that we are going. The time will come whereby the Chinese government will come to collect It will not be in this generation. It will be definitely in the next generation. Meaning the people that are borrowing these debts, they will all be gone. I will not be here. You probably will not be here. But your children will be here. So what will happen when the Chinese government come collecting? They will find out that the government of the day will not even have the money to pay them. Instead, the government will be even begging them for more loans to run their own government. So what we solve that problem is that they will come to a resolution whereby we say, okay, we can't pay this money. Here is this beautiful piece of land with a lot of natural resources in a very choice area of the country. You can have that for 500 years. You can have this piece of land. You can have half of Delta states for the next 400 years. You can take whatever resources you want during that time to pay your debt. You can have a portion of 80% of maybe Zamfara states. You can get your gold, you can get your silver, everything you need, you can get it for there for the next 800 years to pay the debt. And we are even. So this is the point where you will now see Chinese citizens building skyscrapers in Africa, having their own cities in front of you, the real children of Africa. And there's nothing you can do about it. They will be living a very good life in your country. They will have their own facilities, their own infrastructures. They will have their own healthcare. They will have their own hospitals. They will have their own schools. They will have their own airports, their own power supply. Everything will be working fine. While you, the children of the modern day Christians and Muslims that are praying to go to heaven, will be watching the children of the Chinese living like kings and queens in front of you in your own land, enjoying your own resources, enjoying your own sun, and laughing at you. And then you will start crying to the gods of your ancestors to come to help you. And the gods of your ancestors, the real Africans, the real spirits of Africa, will not listen to you, because they were there with your fathers and mothers, and they try to warn your fathers and mothers of what will happen to you. But instead, your fathers and mothers choose to go to heaven, to believe in a fake religion, to believe a lie that is not founded on any natural truth, to believe in a fable, in a fairy tale, instead of actually studying their real history and planning for their future and thinking of creating their heaven upon this earth. They were praying to go to the heaven of another man that is non-existent. So this slavery is coming, and it's already happening. We can see this in countries like Zambia, in Gambia, in Senegal, even in Cape Verde. Chinese people are already acquiring landed properties, government infrastructures for hundreds of years in order to pay back debts that have been taken from the Chinese government. It's already happening in Africa. It's just a matter of time before it goes round the whole continent. There are many places now, many people are complaining in Zambia, even in Cape Verde, that there are places they can't go anywhere that are owned by the Chinese. There are beaches, there are foreign, there are reserves, there are land masses that have already been fenced and taken, and the Chinese government are mining the resources, are building structures for only Chinese people. This is what is going to happen all over Africa. In fact, at the rate we are borrowing money from the Chinese, I am estimating that Africa is going to lose another 50% of their land mass and resources, including population, to the occupation of the Chinese. Another 50% of African land mass is going to be lost. And it will be a good thing, because we are all here witnessing this, and we do nothing about it. In the past, people were blaming the white man came to Africa, the white man did this, the white man enslaved us. But did the white man did it alone? No. Our black brothers and sisters were there to help him do all these things. The slave raiders that were capturing slaves in the ancient time, they were not white people. They were black Africans that were raiding other villages. Same with the Arab slave trade. There were black Africans from Somalia, from other parts of Africa that were engaged in the practice of catching Africans and selling them as slaves to the outside world. Today, history is repeating itself. We are witnessing our so-called leaders, our governments, borrowing money upon loans, upon loans, upon loans, for nothing, putting us into slavery, putting us into debt. They are doing this thinking that their own family will be safe because they have embezzled enough money to last their generation for the next 20 centuries. So they are not going to be enslaved. But they'll be surprised at the end of the day, they are also going to be affected. During the era of the transatlantic Arab slavery, when kingdoms were raiding other kingdoms for slaves, there are kingdoms that were thinking that they are so powerful, nothing is going to happen to them. They are going to reign forever. They are stronger than the next village. At the end of the day, the slave trade affected everybody in Africa. Whether you were enslaved or not, you were impacted. This is how it's going to be with the loans that our leaders are taking today. At the end of the day, everybody is going to be affected. In order for us to reverse these trends, the solutions for this problem is that we need to start questioning our beliefs, revisiting our history, trying to learn the true history of Africa, find out who we really are before slavery. We need to be actively involved in politics. Politics is a dirty game, yes, but we can't leave it for only the criminals and the bad people to be involved in. We need to take active part in politics to make sure we make the decisions for our own future, not the other way around. We also have to make sure that we speak against corruption, especially government corruption whenever we see it. We speak against contractors that abuse the funds that are given to them to do contracts for us. We need to speak, we need to report them, we need to be very, very attentive of what is going on around us. We need to be conscious of the evils committed by our government. We also need to start patronizing made in African products so that our economy can be re-stimulated, our economy can be revived. By us focusing on buying foreign products all the time, we are moving money out of the continent, and this is also killing us. This is also enslaving us. We need to focus on building wealth in our own country. We also need to start educating our children about the dangers of religion, how religion is taking our mind from practical ways of living. That is why I speak against religion, because religion is the main problem of mental slavery in Africa that is putting us in this trajectory of slavery. If we don't teach the truth to our people and our people believe the lie, they are going to end up in a situation that will not be favorable to them. And this is already happening today. So these elders, these fake pastors that know the truth, but due to greed and wickedness, we decide to teach their people this lie. We need to stand up against them, and we need to revitalize our educational system so that we can be teaching courses, programs that will empower our youths, not obsolete programs that they can't use to find jobs, that they can't use to help themselves to do any vocational work after school. We need to focus on courses that will give empowerment to our children. We need to check our education, we need to check ourselves, we need to check our history. That is the way I see forward in this issue. So I hope that this topic will come to you in a very important way, and you have to can make you rethink about where the country is going to and what we really stand for in this country, what is working for us and what is working against us. Is this religious practices really working for us, or is it working against us? Try to find out the truth about the real history of Africa. When two children are quarreling about something, maybe a toy that is stolen, one child will say, I want this toy, the other child say, this toy is mine. As an intelligent adult, what you need to do is to hear both sides of the story. Now, you as a Christian, as an African Christian and Muslim, you have been hearing one side of the story about how Allah or Jesus Christ came to save you. Don't you think it's time that you hear the story of your ancestors? Don't you think it's time you open one or two African history books to read about what really happened, what this other side have to say, before you decide to make a decision about what you are going to do with your life? Don't you think it's that time that you start hearing an alternative view of the story of Africa? So with this, I will end this topic of today. As always, questions and comments are welcome. I also want you to like and share this video. You can share it with your friends. If you don't have any friends, share with your enemies, as one of my friends used to say. And I thank you very much for giving me your ears. This is the place where we separate the facts from the fictions, the science from the superstition, and the concept from the misconceptions. I wish you a very wonderful day, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care, and bye.